Hello and welcome to the Daily Weekly Podcast.
We'll be sharing our thoughts on a variety of movies and TV shows.
And of course we'll be discussing the latest entertainment news.
I'm Bradley.
I'm Rachel.
We've looked at a few of the best movies based on books. We've looked at some of the worst movies based on books. But what about movies that wouldn't be made today?
In this episode we'll be looking at a selection of movies that we and the internet think wouldn't be made today.
And as always, check out all the links in the description if you're watching this on YouTube, and make sure to use the hashtag Daily Weekly Podcast to, I don't know, tag us in stuff if you want to do that. You know, that's what it's there for.
Where was that going? If you are enjoying this, then be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share with a friend.
And with that out of the way, let's get into it.
Yeah. It's a bit like an olden days white chicks, but where they're not having to be white chicks, they're just being
olden
chicks.
Days white chick.
But like not white, they're just like, yeah, they're just chicks.
Just chick.
Yeah, but it is really funny. Like, if you want to go watch it, it is just like your bog standard rom-com with Marilyn Monroe. But yeah, I actually had to watch it for my history GCSE. That's how I know it.
History GCSE, that's interesting.
Yeah, we were studying flappers, and it was set around the 1920s.
Films I watched in kind of my history classes were obviously war films, you know, so like Operation Anthropoid and things like that.
This was like at the very end of the year, like we were doing like our very last minute revision in year 11. I mean, we did watch like all the serious ones like Schindler's List and Boys Red Pyjamas. And then there was just Some Like It Hot, like at the back of the cupboard, and my teacher was like, that'll do. Shove that on.
Historical value.
I know. Oh, okay, so one of you two, please take the next one, because if you haven't seen it, you are actually leaving.
Rachel,
should I leave then? Because I've not seen this.
Shut up. Are you actually joking? Like, seriously?
No, I have seen it, but
I'm
I
so
just
glad
anyway.
Bradley's here to take a lot of the brunt.
2004, and it's a good film, isn't it, guys? It's very funny.
It's lovely.
It's the best film I've ever not seen.
So it's about
it really,
a couple of...
yeah, it really encapsulates what it's like to be a woman.
But if you haven't seen the film White Chicks, just search it up on Google.
Okay, brilliant.
But yeah, I don't think this film would be made today
It
because of some
is.
racial stereotypes,
Underrated.
gender stereotypes, the whole cross-dressing, pretending to be a woman thing, sexism. I mean, it was a comedy, but, you know, there's just some things that, you know, that shouldn't be used for comedic purposes, you know.
Yeah, I think this film kind of explains itself, doesn't it? Just the
Yeah.
whole premise of the film is a bit insensitive, whichever way you look at it.
It can be a fun
Yeah.
watch if you see it for...
Yeah. It is really, like with all of these films, they're really funny comedies. I don't think we've actually spoken about a film that's like meant to be serious and meant to offend. Like, they're all funny and like meant to laugh with them. But no, this one is very much like, how did they get away with making this in 2004? That was only like 16, 17 years ago.
I mean, to be fair, the sweeping of kind of wokeness, if you want to call it that, political correctness, has only really come into effect properly in the last 10 years, you know,
Yeah.
if that, you know, it's a very modern thing, is this political correctness and the cancel culture, you know, it's all quite new. I think it's easy to get, you know, which is why you get things like Little Britain in 2008, you know, but then 12 years later, well, 13 now, isn't it? Jeez, it's considered to be highly offensive.
It's a rapid moving
And
environment
it's such
out
a
there.
short period of time.
It really is. Who hasn't actually seen it? I would like to think that it was, you know, done ironically to an extent. Although knowing the premise, there's only so much you can do to defend something like that, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Should we go on to another film?
Yeah, I think we should.
What is next on the list?
So next on our list we have got Monty Python's Life of Brian, which again I've really like this film.
Oh, I love this film.
It's so good. Brad, have you seen it?
Brad, don't do this.
Yeah, from 1979. Oh, we all know this film, don't we? What? What did
You
I
haven't
mean?
seen it, have you? This is upsetting.
This is...
Yeah, I adore this film, and I think, to be honest, if we're talking about films that wouldn't be made today, you might as well chuck the Holy Grail in there too.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, just the religious aspect.
I think it was, yeah.
You know, I mean, Life of Brian, wasn't it banned in a whole bunch of countries for a long time?
Yeah, I think so.
Britain, actually, I think. Hold on.
Really?
I think so.
Go.
Ireland, Norway, Sweden, you know, loads of countries it was banned in.
Wow. I mean, I'm not surprised, like, when you look back at the racism, the blasphemy in it, also the cross-dressing. I mean, one of the main characters is the Brian's mum, who is obviously played by a man. Yeah, the gender stereotypes as well that come from that. But, oh my god, is it funny.
It's one of those films that you kind of cringe when you laugh.
Yes. Particularly at the very end when they're all singing
That's
Always
something
Look on
I
the Bright
would
Side
do.
of Life. Like,
I was there. I try and
they're
stay
on a
positive.
cross.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
What?
No, I'm just saying, if I ever
course you
happened
would.
to end up on a cross,
Where
then I would
are you
start
just
singing
gonna like
that song
make your
because I
own
want to
cross?
remain positive. No, I just know the
Oh,
song.
that's quite sweet.
Also, if there were people with you, they'd be like,
then they
so
can
you've
teach me
seen
all
Life of
about
Brian?
the
You'd be
film.
like, no.
So, yeah. Yeah.
They'd run you through it over
Yeah.
the forthcoming 3 days
I'm
whilst
just
you
there to
bled out
catch
and
your tan.
died, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could reenact it while you're up there.
Jesus.
Literally.
A strangely appropriate thing to say, wasn't it?
Oh, but no, it
On the
wasn't.
side, he's a very naughty boy.
Oh my god, I feel like I'm just gonna, like, at any point where... I mean, my parents used to say it to me and I used to be like, what? Like, they used to say, he's not Messiah, he's a very naughty boy, when my brother was naughty. Weird family, but hey, we're absolutely fine.
So
My
Bradley,
thoughts
any
for
thoughts on this film that you've
also
definitely
the
seen?
same as my thoughts to pretty much any film on the list. They're, you know,
What is this
I've never
film?
heard of it. What's it about?
Where did Rachel
You know,
find this?
But to say that, yes, they're all funny from their time. They're all comedies, but for a certain number of reasons, they wouldn't be made this year or any, recent today. Yeah,
You're literally just like re-going
Yeah.
over the whole like.
this could have
aspects
been
of
a
this
10-minute
episode. Like,
list.
yeah, no, for the reasons listed above.
You've definitely watched the next one on the list, though, haven't you, Bradley?
Oh, I think he knew what he was doing.
Wrong choice of words.
I might have seen
Oh,
a bit of it on TV.
but
I haven't
seriously,
gone out my way
have
to
you
watch it,
watched Life of Brian?
You've got to try and find it and watch
Again, I might
it.
have seen it on
You're-
TV, but I don't think I've gone out of my way to.
No. Have you actually seen any Monty Python?
Have you seen Captain America: The Winter Soldier? Have any of you seen that?
That's
film?
a no. We're counting
do you
that
know-
as a no.
That's a
It's
solid
near the
no.
beginning. Just after Steve and Sam are gone running, Steve has this little notebook
Yes.
of things to catch up on, and he's writing it down. I need to get a little notebook and write down all these films, and in last episode, Rachel, all those books. I need to get that and start making lists.
It wouldn't be big enough.
Yeah.
It just would not be big enough. You need like a scroll.
Next up, Bradley's favourite film of all time.
Go on, Ridley. You started. You might as well finish.
It's the Human Centipede series, people.
Da-da-da.
From 2009 to 2015, directed by Tom Six.
Mm.
If you know anything about these films, it's pretty self-explanatory, you know.
Yes.
How many are there?
If you're not aware of the whole
Three.
premise, it's a horror franchise.
It says series.
3.
It says trilogy. Oh no, it doesn't say trilogy. Sorry, I take that back.
These films are infamous for their graphic, shall we say, nature. Yeah, if you don't know what they are, essentially 3 poor victims have an operation that they're all essentially sewn together from mouth to in some sick experiment. You know, that's the whole premise of the first film, and then 2 and 3 take it horrifically far, adding, as you can already imagine, I'm sure, more people, to the point where 3, which I believe is banned in most places, has an entire prison or something of people. It's horrible, to be honest.
I feel like I'm like a massive horror film fan, and I feel like anyone you speak to about horror films says you have to watch Human Centipede. Like, I wouldn't go as far as say it's like a cult thing, but it's one of those you have to watch it things.
It's one of those things you need to watch it almost for the shock factor than any actual enjoyment, you know, because it's not one of those. I wouldn't say I enjoy that, like, the film. I haven't watched the sequels. I know of them though. I did try and watch the first one. You kind of need to watch it for that shock factor of, geez, they've actually filmed this.
I mean,
this was a thing actually made, you know.
It's insane, isn't it? But
it was him.
To think that there are people out there who would think like that. I mean, the creator of the I don't know who wrote the film. Whether it was
also
Tom
produced
Six
the film
or there was okay, thanks, Brad. Thanks
he
for
also
your 2 cents worth.
well. He was an editor.
He's really in love with his work then. He thinks he's done a stellar job.
Company.
Oh my god. Probably because everyone else looked at this and was like, yeah, you could take this one,
Although
Tom.
he didn't do the music, so...
Tom loves this sort of perverted thing.
That's the redeeming factor.
Is it? But no, I've watched the first one. I have not watched the second 2, but I have got them on DVD. Because I really want to do... I've got them on DVD because I was ready and raring to go. When I bought the first one, I was like, do you know what? I'm definitely going to watch the second 2 as well. And I just haven't because, I don't know, I feel like I need to like hold someone's hand while I do. But if anyone's...
you want that kind of body contact.
We're not like holding each other's butt to butt. Like, I think we'll be okay. I think holding someone's hand is actually quite... Yeah, I think that's okay. But if anyone's followed me, then you'll know that me and my old co-host actually recorded our reaction to the first.
Yes. So,
what? So it's literally
the entire trilogy was compiled into a single film in 2016 titled The Complete Sequence, which Tom Six describes as the movie Centipede, due to each sequence leading into its successor while also simultaneously working as a separate standalone film.
Whoa!
That's intense, I think.
Who is going to sit there and watch that for like the 6 hours or the 4 hours or whatever that's going to be on for? Like... But yes, so suffice to say, these films are disgusting, but they are one of those things that you can't sort of tear your eyes away from it, like you have to look. But it has obviously been slated for the sexual violence, the body gore, and the torture and extortion.
Sean Connery has entered the chat.
Extortion scenes. I'd really try them. So yeah, to be fair, the last one was made in 2015, unless we're going to include the final sequence, which was 2016. That wasn't that long ago. So, and then the final one on our list before we hand over properly to Ridley is Don't Be a Menace.
This the other day.
After watching this film like 30,000 times, I still don't know the full title of it. But Don't Be a Menace. Oh, go on.
Hey, after a quick Google search, I believe 1996.
Great. That's like saying I did my homework. I just didn't
drinking your
bring it
juice in the hood.
Yeah, I did my homework and then throw it in the bin.
Is the title of the film?
Oh,
which I've never heard of.
You've never heard of it?
I've never heard of this.
What? I thought it was like not a cult classic, but I thought it was like one of those 90s films you just grew up watching.
No, just
okay, very different upbringings. Basically, Don't Be a Menace is I don't even know. It is a comedy. It is a comedy about these two guys who live in the hood and, you know, in America, having a great time. And it's just about their life, really. Like, watching it, because, like, it's them laughing together, and then there's just me as a token white person, like, huh, that's funny. And there's a lot of sexism and gender stereotypes in there. So like the main protagonist likes this girl, and then he finds out that at the age of 18 she's already got like 7 kids by different men and that sort of thing. And you know, the racial stereotypes of like black people or African Americans always carrying guns, and there's this one character who's like, oh, does my gun match my shoes? And if it doesn't, then he'll go swap his shoes or he'll swap his gun. And it's like, I don't know, it feels really wrong to be watching it, but
just exaggerating the stereotypes.
Yeah, it's over exaggeration, and it's just so funny. And then one of the guys has got like what do you call them in the hair? Like they have their hair done a certain way, and he like keeps things in his hair. And there's a bit where he's like, "What do you need?" I've got oh, I can't remember what it is. Like I've got like a candy bar, and I've got like a bottle opener, and I've got a condom, and he's got all these different things in his hair. Oh, and like a dummy, like a baby's dummy. He's got all these different things in his hair, and it is just the over-exaggeration of the stereotype. And I feel really bad every time I watch it, but then I laugh, and I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, that's that.
I mean, to be fair, looking back at, you know, the 2000s and the 90s, a lot of comedy was reliant on stereotypes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
As we were discussing quite early on, it is a product of its era, isn't it?
Yeah. But it is similar
It's
to
the same guys,
White
wasn't it?
Chicks in that sense. And
I recognise the name Marlon Wayne.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, he was in
See,
that Netflix
those
film.
two were in the first 2 Scary Movie
It was
films.
like yeah, he's been
Oh
in
no,
lots of
I know him from
Yeah.
the Scary Movie franchise.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it.
They come from a whole kind of
And is it the Haunted
dynasty
House
of
films?
actors and filmmakers. So
Yeah.
you know, they know what they know their
He's
stuff. They're good actors. They're good.
They know what they're doing.
And
I
the last
like
one
the
is
first
easily
Scary
the
Movie
worst. I
film, I'm
think.
just saying. I think, in fact, I like them all. I think they go down in quality significantly. The first one's easily they're so bad that you have to laugh. You know, it's almost like Sharknado.
They'd never expected it to, but
that's
it did.
true. I don't know how they're still making those.
Because it blew up. You know, like a cult classic. You know, that's why The Room is such a cult hit now. God, I watched that in my one of my A-level film studies classes, because we basically pressured the lecturer into showing us, you know. So we got our wish and we watched it, and it was amazingly awful, and I loved it.
I think it's time to wrap up this week's episode. So thank you all.
Yeah, thank you to our first ever special guest, me. Yeah, this is the time where I plug my social media.
Yay!
Go follow all my film-related accounts at Film is Ridley. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. I'm also starting a podcast on my own soon, the Lost Boy podcast.
You know,
that'll be on
expand
Instagram
our
and
horizons.
probably Twitter. So, you know, go find those.
It has worked
Coming
successfully.
soon. I do film reviews on Film is Ridley. They're all spoiler-free, and I do mostly positive reviews, so you can find films that you might
make
like.
sure you're following us.
Tell me what you
follow
think.
us everywhere.
Yeah, up-to-date
Social
weekly
media,
podcast.
just friendly fan kind
We're
of
just
way.
at the Daily
That's
Weekly
what we
now,
ask.
aren't we?
And yeah.
Goodbye!
Ciao.